this is my keyword outline right here. The policy that I chose to discuss today is the foster care and public school education systems within the inner city, because I am passionate about children. Children are who I love, who I want to work with, and I think that we should be doing anything and everything we can to absolutely just help these children excel and do what they can. And I discovered a long time ago that the foster care education system and the education system within inner cities is failing these children in more ways than we can imagine. I'd first like to start off by saying this is how the foster care system is supposed to work. That little sign right there says, for 271 days I have shared their love, and as of today, I now share their last name. And this is a beautiful image. This is how the foster care system is supposed to work. But more often than not, it ends up leaving children in this country like this. It's kind of a small picture, so you can't see very well, but it says, when left with no other options, students will oftentimes resort to gangs to get by. And I was doing some research, and according to Joseph Rivers, the founder of Foster Care to Success, only about 10% of children in the foster care system actually graduate college, and only about 50% of these children actually end up graduating high school. And those are terrifying numbers. These are the most innocent group of people in this country, because they are young and they don't know what's going on, and they have no one to guide them along the way. And these numbers show that we just are leaving them out on the streets to fend for themselves. When I was doing some research, I came across a study done by the Hawaiian Human Services Act, and they had some crazy data. They found that they did some stuff on gangs, and they just wanted to figure out what's going on and like their background and their mental state and all that stuff. And they found that 43.1% of members of gangs grew up with poor or no family supervision. 49.56% of members of gangs grew up with academic failure, and 43% of gang members experienced depression. And correlation does not necessarily mean causation, but these numbers are so staggeringly close. It is just awful to think that since only 50% of these kids actually graduate from high school, and that 49.56% of gang members experience academic failure, this is a very high correlation. And the simple fact that the same study also came out and said that the average population of gangs was males to ages 12 to 21 who reside in poor residential areas like the inner city, exactly where you're going to find these foster care systems and the bad inner workings of schools. And so one thing that I think we could do to help fix this problem, fix the inner school public education system and foster care education system, would be to kind of take on a Mike Rowe model. So Mike Rowe is famous for his time at Dirty Jobs. But he has recently, as of a few years ago, became an advocate for not necessarily college, but for some kind of other post-secondary education. So what I mean by that is he started a foundation called Mike Rowe Works. And what it does is it gives scholarships to children and teenagers in this country who are not looking to go to college, but want to go to a trade school to learn to become a welder or a plumber or get the realtor's license or something like that. Because there's always going to be a need in this country for blue-collar work like that. And the emphasis that the public school system puts on going to college will oftentimes leave children in this country feeling neglected and like they have no other option, and which might oftentimes lead to them dropping out, because they feel like, well, I'm just going to graduate high school and not go to college. I might as well just drop out of high school and go work right now, at a restaurant, at McDonald's, serving, flipping patties. And so Mike Rowe's foundation is incredible, and I think there should be more emphasis within the public school system to not necessarily go to college, but just to get some kind of post-secondary education, because that's all that matters. You just need some kind of post-secondary education. In regards to this also, I love the Mike Rowe model, as I call it, but I think the Mike Rowe model should be integrated into schools across the nation. And what I mean by that is, imagine if instead of graduating from high school, you knew how to do calculus and you knew the molecular structure of a cell, but instead you knew not only how to do your taxes, which isn't taught but should be taught, but you have the ability to work on a car. You're a mechanic, or you get your skydiving license, or you get your realtor's license your senior year. You could take one class that just helps you work your way through getting this skill, and you could graduate high school not even having to go to college, because you would know exactly what you can fall back on if you ever have something else that goes wrong, you can say, oh, I'm certified to be a plumber. Let me just go apply to be a plumber in places. And these blue collar jobs, there's such a stigma around them that people think that they aren't as worthy, but they are more worthy than anything else. These are the people who are the backbone of this country. And someone else I really look up to with what they're doing is LeBron James, and this is his I Promise School. So his I Promise School is based out of Akron, Ohio, and basically what it does is it says that any child who goes to his school is guaranteed tuition to the University of Akron, and I think this is an absolutely phenomenal idea. Like I just said, I don't necessarily think college is the correct option for everyone. And in fact, some people should not even go to college. But the fact that LeBron James is advocating for these children and is giving them a way out to escape the poverty and the bad circumstances that they are most likely being raised in is absolutely phenomenal. He's allowing them to break the cycle of poverty, and he gives them a sense of hope. It's a sense of hope that is will be reinstalled in these children, and they are now given an incentive to graduate from high school because they know they are going to college. And I think that's just absolutely phenomenal. So when it comes to other aspects of it, the U.S. government oftentimes neglects areas that aren't talked about as much, and within the media these days, there's all kinds of attention going to all these different things, but education is not one of those things. In this chart right here, you can see the big blue blob on the left side. That is the military spending budget. And this little bitty green one right there, that is the education budget. And so I found that according to nationalpriorities.org, $69.98 billion goes to education in this country. But if you consider it or put in perspective, that is not really a whole lot of money when you consider the fact that it's only 6.28% of the U.S. budget, whereas $598.49 billion, $500 billion goes to the military budget, which takes up 53.71% of the budget. This is based off of a 2015 article, by the way. But that's absolutely insane. If the U.S. government were to simply reallocate, say, 10% of the budget to education, we could fundamentally, from the roots up, change this country for the better and be able to give these children the opportunities that each and every one of them deserves. Children are the foundation of literally everything. They are the base. They are the future. They are they are the person who's going to discover the cure to cancer. They are everything. They are us. They are younger us. And when I was younger, I was lucky enough to be granted these opportunities to go to a great school, great public high school, great A&M's awesome. But not everyone grows up with those opportunities, and the people who need these opportunities the most are foster care and inner city kids because they grew up with nothing. And if you grow up with nothing, you just feel like you're stuck and you don't know where to go. And these are the same children that basically had no voice because either adults don't listen to them because they say, oh, you're just a child, you know what you're talking about, or they don't know how to properly get their voice out there because they're still young and they have no one to guide them along the way because they're raising themselves by themselves. So when it comes to policy issues like education, there's not necessarily a perfect solution, but there's more perfect solutions. There's better solutions. And I think if we integrated the micro policy, the micro concept into the public school system, and we were granting these children the right to graduate from high school with the path ready to go straight after high school, we would see a huge deduction in gang-related activity, and hunger, and poverty, and all this stuff. And we would be allowing these children not to only support themselves, but support their future family and break the cycle of poverty and give their children a better life, and then their children a better life. And so there's no correct answer here, but there's definitely a huge policy issue here, and these solutions would help to undermine it and get these children the proper education that they all deserve.